Hey everyone, this is Anthony from mycodeteacher.com. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to index your UI table view. So if you take a look at the iPod Music app, you notice that on the right-hand side is a long vertical menu of indexes, A through Z. So for example, if you wanted to jump to all your songs that begin with the letter L, you can tap on the L on that index menu and the table view will jump to the L section. And we're going to do exactly that. In this video, we're going to use the USA states as our data instead of songs, but we're going to achieve exactly the same thing. So let's begin. Let's create a new Xcode project. I'm going to choose navigation based since it comes with a table view already set up and we don't have to waste time doing that. I'm going to call it index states. So we're going to be doing basically all of our coding in the root view controller class. The first thing we need is an SArray instance variable for this root view controller class that contains all of the states. So let's create that. Now I already have copied to my clipboard that states array set up to save us a lot of time. Now I'm just going to paste that. We're going to do this in the initWithCoder method. Again, if you've never seen this done before, the reason we're using initWithCoder as opposed to initWithNib, nib bundle, is because anytime you create a view controller inside of a zip file, in this case it's going to be mainwindow.zip, initWithCoder is used. Because the way zip files work is that essentially they're frozen and then unarchived at launch time. So it's actually an NSCoder object being unarchived as opposed to a new instance being created at runtime using initWithNib bundle. So I'm just going to paste the states array here. You can see we've got all the states in the USA. And just so we don't forget later on, I'm going to add return self here. So the way this is going to work is we're going to create a dictionary where the keys are the unique first letters of the states, so there'll be an A key, a C key, a D key, and then the values for those keys in this dictionary are going to be arrays containing all the states whose first letter are that key. So for example, we'll have an A key, and the value for that A key will be an array containing the 4 states that begin with A: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, and Arkansas. So let's go to our .h file and set up those objects. So we're going to need an SArray keys. This is going to contain the keys, the unique first letters of the states. And then we're going to have that dictionary where the keys are the unique first letters and the values for each key is a mutable array containing all the states that begin with that first letter or that key. Now the reason we're going to make a duplicate data object just to store the keys, even though we already have a link to those keys in the dictionary, is so that we can sort them. It's likely when we create our indexes dictionary, it's likely that the keys will be sorted, but it's not guaranteed when you're dealing with NS dictionaries. So we're going to use an NS array containing those keys, and then we're going to sort them and then use that later as our data source for the keys. So now let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a sorted array containing the states. Now of course you can see, if you glance at this, you can see that it's already sorted. But in the case that you're dealing with some data, some input data that isn't already sorted, you can use this line of code to ensure that it is sorted. So we have a great method here. Sorted array using selector, and then we pass in the compare selector. So now what this means is all data values in this array will be sent the message compare, and depending on how they compare to other data values, they'll be placed in the correct spot. So NSString does in fact respond to the compare method. So this is going to return a sorted array of all these 50 states. Next we're going to create that dictionary object, the indexes object. And now we're going to get to the difficult part of the code. We need a for loop that runs through each state, and it's going to look in the indexes dictionary for a key that links to the first letter of that state. If that key is already there, it's going to grab the array linked to that key and then add this new state to that array. If it doesn't find that key, it's going to create a new array and then set that array as the object for this new key in the indexes dictionary. So let's set that up now. We're going to first grab that first letter. Now we're going to create a pointer to an array, and this is going to be so we're going to see if there's an array existing for that key in the indexes dictionary. So we're going to use an if statement. So if the existing array is already there, in other words, if this isn't nil, we're going to add this new state to that array. Otherwise, you're going to create a new array and then set it as the object for this new key in the indexes dictionary. Again, the key is going to be the first letter. And then we're going to add this state to that new array that we just created. And so this part's complete now. So now, the last thing here is we need to set the keys array. So that's just going to be a sorted array of all those keys. So it'll be A through W with some letters omitted, but it'll be sorted. So it'll just be an array of sorted keys, an array of strings. So we're going to send the all keys method to the indexes dictionary, and that's going to return all of its keys. And then we're going to sort. Now again, it's likely that this is already sorted, but we can't be certain. By doing this, we can be certain, and then we're going to retain it. So now let's use nslog to see what this indexes dictionary looks like. And let's run it. So you can see here that on the left side of all the equal signs are the keys. On the right side is the array linked to that key. So for the A key in the indexes dictionary, we have an array containing all the states that begin with the letter A: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas. For C, we have an array containing California, Colorado, Connecticut. For D, Delaware, and so on and so forth. Now let's get to our data source methods for our table view. So first, let's tell our table view how many sections there are. We can simply return a count of the keys array. Since the keys array stores all the indexes, and for each index is one section, so for example, there's an A section, there's also a C section, a D section. We can simply return keys count. Now we have two methods that we've never seen before, solely for indexing a table view. So the first one, the table view uses to grab an array of indexes. So in fact, we can just return keys. It needs to know all the indexes in this table view. So the method is section index titles for table view, and we're just going to return keys. Now we have another method, table view, section for section index title at index. Now, the point of this method is for the table view to determine which section of itself to display this index. So where in the table view should I show the A section? Where in the table view should I show the D section? Now, of course, we're going to want it exactly in the order that it already is, alphabetically. You could have things wherever you want them by using this method, but for what we're doing, we can simply return index. So the A section will be exactly where it is in the keys array, at the first one. Now we need to implement number of rows in section. So we have a bit of coding to do here. The first thing we have to do is determine which key we're at in this section. So we're going to create a string. We're going to call it correct key. And that's going to be the object at this index of the keys array. So if we're at the first section, which is denoted by 0, we're going to grab the 0th object for the keys array, and that'll be A. Now we need to grab the array for that index in the indexes dictionary. So we need to grab, if we go back to our log here, the console, we need to grab this array. So if we're on the A section, we're going to get the A key. Then we're going to send a message to our indexes dictionary returning the array at the A key. And then we're going to return a count for that array. So the table view knows how many elements there are in that section. And then we can close this by simply returning the number of elements in that array. Now we have another pretty simple method that the table view used to determine the title for the header in this section. So of course that's just going to be a simple string, and that's just going to be the object at this index of the keys array. Okay, and we can just return keys object at index section. So if we're on the 0 section, we return A. Now we can go to our table view self row at index path method, grab the correct dictionary entry for the correct section in our indexes dictionary, grab the correct array entry for the correct dictionary entry in the indexes dictionary, and then return the value, which will be the state. So again, let's get that correct key. Now let's get the correct array. And then let's set the cell's text. So now once we have the correct array linked to the right key, we can return the state at the row that we're on in that section. So if we're at section 0, row 1, we're going to get the A section from the indexes dictionary, and then return the second element, Alaska. And then that's it. Let's run our project. And there we have it. A fully indexed, alphabetized table view. Now you can see here that since all of the keys are pulled from the states array, there are missing letters. We can throw in those missing letters simply by, instead of returning a keys array that only consists of the unique first letters in our input data, just A through Z, but for simplicity's sake, we'll stick with what we've got. So that wraps up this tutorial. I'm Anthony from mycodeteacher.com, and thanks for watching.